So, welcome everybody. This is a Elevated Duty podcast. This has been a project we've been crazy to start, and then today we have the pilot episode with someone special for not only the Colorado National Guard Recruitment and Retention Battalion, but for the whole organization statewide. So, welcome, Colonel Angha.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, welcome, sir.
Yeah, thank you.
On my far right, we have Sergeant Norcross, who will be hosting the podcast today with me, and probably and hopefully he keeps staying with his nice voice.
We'll see.
So
he's got a radio voice for sure.
Yes, sir. So, sir, let's get started.
I'm ready. Hey, first of all, I want to say thank you for doing this podcast for both of you. This is a great event, so we can tell our story to our communities and just the bigger audience of Colorado National Guard and Colorado community. Right, we live here, serve here, and the whole idea is that we communicate what we do to our folks out there. Okay.
So, what do you think of when I pitched you the idea and you were like, "I'm all in"? What do you think of what we have now?
I'm all in. I'm really impressed with the production. Just coming into the studio. This is a great studio here in Parker, Colorado. So thanks for putting this together.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
So, some folks might know you because you've been a while in the Guard.
I have.
But for those who don't know you, where you come from, sir?
How far are we going back? Back to beginning enlistment?
Back to your childhood, sir.
Back to my childhood. So I have a unique story in that my parents are Iranian Americans. They came in to the United States in the 70s because my father was going to University of Colorado Boulder. That's where I was born, here in Boulder, Colorado. My father at the time was serving in the Iranian Royal Air Force during when we had a relationship with the Shah of Iran. And so after he finished his education, we went back to Tehran. So I lived in Tehran, Iran from 1979 to 1989. So I was there for about 10 years. And then and I lived during the Iran-Iraq War. So a lot of people don't know this, but it was intense fighting between the two neighboring countries over territory in the southern part of Iran. And it was intense. So I lived through that childhood. I always had a love for the military. I wanted to be a part of the military because my father was in it.
Sure.
And so then when I moved here in 1989, back to Boulder, Colorado, going to school, and here I am senior year trying to decide, hey, what do I do after college? I need to pay for college, right? My parents were in Iran. My guardians who raised me, I really couldn't go back to them asking for help. Because our arrangement was that they would raise me till I was 18.
Okay.
So, to my luck, there was this recruiter that came to my high school during lunch period, had a table set up, right? And so I walk in, and he has his stuff set up on the table, some brochures, some goodies, right? So I walk up and strike a conversation, and he's like, "Hey, you can stay here in Colorado and go to school and pay for school." I was so intrigued. And the whole reason why my parents sent me to the United States was to get away from the military, the war, all those things. Here I am talking to somebody to join the military. So, but for me, it was, I always had I love this country, right? The United States, because it's given me so many opportunities. From the minute I walked in, I'll never forget him flying in. I'm just giving a long story here, but I remember flying in over New York City and seeing Statue of Liberty, and I was just completely taken by that moment, right? And then since going to school, really accepted into the society, into the school, and I just loved every minute of it and the life I've had. I just wanted to give back, right? So joining the military, joining the National Guard, I felt like it was going to give me that opportunity to give back to this amazing country and also to the state of Colorado, right? Mm-hmm. So joined at 95. My recruiter, I'll never forget his name, Sergeant First Class Ray Brushaw. Just incredible support. Got me through it all. I went to one station unit training, Fort Sill, Oklahoma, as a 13 Bravo, and became an artilleryman. So that my career started in 1995.
So you joined as a private.
As
E1.
a private E1.
E1,
Yes,
and
E1.
we'll get that to that
Yes.
later. So, sir, you went where you were raised in Iran.
Yep.
You came back. You were raised here. You went to CU, right?
University of Colorado Boulder. Correct.
Yeah. And then what you did there?
So I was accepted to the engineering school at CU Boulder, but just like any young kid, I had 3 jobs. I was trying to support myself, trying to go to engineering school.
Yeah.
And I struggled through it, and didn't really. I just couldn't do it. I mean, the classes were so large, the cost, just to study. When you're in engineering school, there's a level of studying that you have to do to be prepared, right, for your exams and for what you're learning. And so I ended up dropping out after my first semester because I found it really, really hard, and I needed to provide for my livelihood. So that was, having to work. I worked at a coffee shop. I worked at a gas station overnight to make ends meet, and then I did the guard on the weekend.
And going to school full
and
time.
going to school full time. So it didn't work out. So I had to divest the school. And the business took off for me, right? I became a manager at the coffee shop I was working in. That led to ownership. And then I started doing night classes. So then I went to Front Range Community College using tuition assistance to get an associate degree. Had my associate degree. I was simultaneously working with the University of Colorado Boulder to figure out what classes would transfer back to Boulder, Colorado, because I wanted to go to CU to get my degree. So transferred in 2000, transferred to CU Boulder Business School, and ultimately I was able to get my business degree in 2005. Same year, I had enough credits to enter the OCS program because my first term of enlistment was up, my 6 years. So then I went through our state officer candidate school at Fort Carson, which is a 2-year program, 2 weeks in the front, 1 week in the month in the middle, and then another 2 weeks. And I received my commission in 2002. So that's it. So, and then eventually 10 years later, I got my degree in 2005 from the University of Colorado Boulder because, again, I was working full-time, going to school, part-time student.
Sure.
So, but the military really has provided the structure I needed to go through those gates and be motivated to get there, right? And I did it because of the military. So
Yeah, that's outstanding, sir. How far going back in time when you enlisted as an E1?
As an E1.
Yep. How far did you progress on the enlisted side before you?
Great question. So I walked all the way through E5, all the way to E5, and then I was a staff sergeant while going through officer candidate school. So I was an E5, sergeant.
So it's funny that you mentioned that it took you like 10 years to get your degree.
Yeah, basically.
So for all those folks listening to us out there, like majority of things in life, it's not a race. Your situation at that moment, you had to stop. So you had to take care of your family, provide for them, and then it doesn't matter you're pushing stuff like back to not do it because you're like priorities. You gotta set up priorities, and then once you get them, then you finish your goals.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and that interests me as well, sir. You were talking about, and like some of areas talking about not giving up. What was your drive? You were obviously, still here in the Colorado National Guard.
Yeah.
What was your driving factor? Was being a commissioned officer the end goal? Was finishing school? Was just being successful overall? How would you lay it out for somebody that's following that same path?
I think it's all encompassing, but I would say for me, it comes down to, if I can phrase it, I love this organization, right? I love the Colorado Army National Guard, and it's everything I've known for my entire adult life, right? Going down range with with all the every drill weekend, going down range to Fort Carson, doing the tasks, doing the mission, and then having a cup of coffee on the hood of a Humvee and having a meal, that's half frozen because you walk from the chow line to the Humvee and it's half frozen, but you're having this incredible conversation with your comrades, right, with your friends, and that's really all I know. And I've always, even as a private, wanted to make my organization better, which is making the Colorado Army National Guard better. So the reason I'm in it, the reason I'm leading, now that I see myself as one of the top leaders in the organization, is to improve the organization. So everything I've learned as a private growing up, translating to how I see myself when I was a private and how I can do things as a leader to make it better for the whole of the organization, so the next generation of people coming up can have a great experience of training and being a soldier in the Colorado Army National Guard.
That's amazing, sir.
Yeah. I hope I answered the question.
Yeah.
Okay, good.
So let me see my notes. So going back to that,
Yes.
so you haven't finished going to school. You are in school right now.
I am in school, and it's very painful. I'm getting my second master's degree, Army War College, United States Army War College, that I started last summer, and it's a 2-year program. It's a 2-year master's program, and I'm a quarter of the way through it. So July will be the end of the first year, and then I have one more year after that. So that completes pretty much. That is a culminating event for my military education. So I'm very excited about that. That's the last military course I have to take for my professional military education. So I'm sure there'll be other short courses, but
Sure.
I'm really excited about getting this done.
So what was your first master's degree, sir?
My first master's degree, so in 2000, after my deployment, there was a first deployment in 2006 that I stayed in as a rear dead for the 169th Field Artillery Brigade. And between my first deployment and second deployment, which was going to Ramadi, Iraq, as a commander of HHB 3157, right? We went to Ramadi. I was getting my master's in human resources because I thought after the deployment, I was in a full-time AGR. I was looking in for civilian careers. So I thought maybe getting into, with my business degree in human resources, I can walk into a company and get a civilian job. So my degree is from CSU. It's organizational development and human resources, and so it's helped me actually tremendously because when I became a professor of military science at CU, that degree helped me one, get the job, and two, I was an instructor, right, because of that degree, and so that's my master's degree. That's my first master's degree. So,
you had mentioned before, sir, you were talking about, ever since you came in on the enlisted side, making those changes here in the organization that we love.
Right.
How has it been different from when you first enlisted in the Colorado National Guard and now, and looking back on the changes that your predecessors have made and that you want to continue to make changes moving forward?
Yeah, I would say before 9/11, the Guard was completely different than it is today, right? I would say maybe we didn't take it as more. I mean, we still did our training, but it wasn't taken as seriously as post 9/11. I would say.
Sure.
I experienced post 9/11 very structured. Not only our equipment, but our training. We're part of the Army, right? And we're part of the Operational Reserve. We can get called up, anytime, right? Whether it's domestic operations or we have more notice with federal deployments. So I would say that it's changed. That I like to structure better, and we're better equipped, better ready to answer the nation's call and our state. Right, so that's what I say the most kind of difference I see prior to
just the readiness,
just the
side.
readiness level.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
that makes sense.
So from a personal readiness and equipment readiness, that's a great point you make. The readiness level is definitely higher. Absolutely.
So, that being said, sir, you mentioned in the past with one of our conversations that you went to the Pentagon, right?
Yes.
So how was that assignment for you?
That was an assignment that I applied for. I was looking for a botany assignment in 2020. And so December of 2020, I applied for this position. And 2021 is when I basically, I went there in April 21 and came back April of 2022. So I applied December of 2020 looking for a botany assignment there. And I was always fascinated growing up with the building, with the Pentagon. And, I'm at the tail end of my career, so I wanted to experience what it is working at the Pentagon. Having worked at the embassy in Jordan, I worked in the United States Embassy in Jordan from 2013 to 2015 as the bilateral, what we call a BAO, Bilateral Affairs Officer.
Okay.
Which is a liaison between the Colorado National Guard and Jordan Armed Forces. So I did that for 2.5 years, where I managed our engagements between the two countries. So that
through our state partnership program.
Through our state partnership program. Thanks for bringing that up. That's the overarching program.
Sure.
Yeah. So so I was like, hey, because I had a lot of interactions with folks from the Joint Staff, folks that are coming from the Pentagon, and I'm like, it would be cool to go work at the Pentagon. So kind of that tour kind of sparked interest in going to the Pentagon. So anyway, I go there, and the job announcement says somebody with experience in Middle East, and I figured, having grown up in Iran, having served in Iraq, Jordan, and traveled to Israel and whatnot in the area, I could be a good candidate. I put in for it, and next thing I know, I'm working on the NJOIC floor, which is the National Joint Operation Intelligence Center.
Wow.
And National Military Command Center. Really had not done too much research. I knew that the position was in the Joint Staff, but didn't know exactly where it was. So it ended up being working in that area, and it was a really eye-opening, fruitful experience.
Absolutely. And you mentioned earlier, after college and trying to find your place in the civilian sector and then the military opportunities as well.
Yeah.
A lot of the questions that we see as recruiters, and for those listening and watching that don't know the differences between our mandatory service obligation as traditional guardsmen and then the opportunities that we have with full-time service with the Colorado National Guard. Could you give a brief description on how you started, what made you interested in getting into that?
Ask the question again. I'm not quite understanding.
No, sure. So to rephrase it, I guess, would be for those listening and watching that don't know about the opportunity to serve full-time with the Colorado National Guard, how would one go about getting their foot in the door, or who would you recommend they talk to within their leadership?
Yeah. Well, the one area I can say is just recently we're implementing this program where when you come into, as a new soldier coming into the Colorado Army National Guard, we have the reception drill, right? Mm-hmm. Where we introduce you to the leadership, where we say certain information we want you to have, right? So you're prepared going into your unit, and it's going to expand. But in that area, we're going to give a 15-minute brief on who is, all the vacancies that are available as AGRs, all vacancies available as technicians for a full-time force.
Sure.
Right. So because we have this civilian side, so we have civilian workforce, we have technician workforce, but an AGR. So specifically, we're going to talk technician and AGR vacancies to people coming into the Colorado Army National Guard, so they know this avenue exists.
I think that's great.
So they can serve the Colorado Army National Guard in a full-time capacity. As you know, we have a lot of vacancies on the AGR sides and technician side. So that's how we were getting after that. But again, we're also doing marketing, right? Doing marketing through our whether it's sending out our mass emails or campaigns we do on our TV screens and different avenues through leadership. So we're trying to inform as much as we can our current workforce or our current soldiers in the Army National Guard as well as incoming folks.
That's great.
Yeah.
Thank you, sir.
Definitely.
So,
great question.
Sir, I'm going to go back to serving. So when I was in Puerto Rico, one of the most like touching assignments or missions I did was emergency response for Hurricane Maria.
Yep.
So what does it feel to serve your people, your state? Because it's a different feeling than going to the Pentagon. It's totally different.
You know, I'll just recap. Out of all my deployments overseas, experiences that were, I would say, tip of the spear kind of events, I would say serving back home, serving Americans and Coloradans has been the most rewarding, actually. I'll just give you a couple examples, but the one that really remains with me to this day is, I've done a lot of fires, blizzards, in the past, in the late 90s, early 2000s. But the one that really is like seared in my mind is Hurricane Katrina, where in 2005 we took an entire brigade plus of units from Colorado National Guard to Hurricane Katrina. We drove for 3 days. I remember driving from, I had a convoy of 100 vehicles going from Boulder, Colorado, to Kansas and then Texas to New Orleans, and then subsequently being assigned to the 9th Ward area of operation, which was the worst hit area in Hurricane Katrina. And for a period of 3 weeks, early on we did search and rescue, trying to help Americans, and having people come out of their homes, giving them, they're asking for assistance, they're asking for food, they're asking for water, and being able to rescue them and take them places, whether it was animals, livestock, people, we were there helping Americans, and that was the most rewarding experience in my life. So I'll just leave it with that. I mean, as guardsmen, we live here, serve here, and we serve our community. When I was in 2013, when Boulder County was flooded, I was serving in Jordan, but the guardsmen came to my aid. My house was flooded, and securing my home. Right.
Yeah.
So it means a lot to me what the guard did for me, and then I can see my impact in helping New Orleans and the people in New Orleans in Hurricane Katrina. So to me, that's the most rewarding experience.
So now that you mentioned the flooding that happens to your house in Boulder, you're the president of the COARNG Foundation.
Yes, I'm the president of the Colorado National Guard Foundation, and the reason I got involved after I came back from Jordan is because of that. When Boulder was flooded, I found out Thursday that flooding was happening. House was flooded. I was back from Jordan to Colorado on a Saturday. Right, I got on a flight Saturday, and I was here on Saturday. Sunday morning, they gave me 9 days. They're like, "Hey, you got 9 days to go take care of your business at home."
Yeah.
I left my family in Jordan, come back to Colorado, and take care of it. And during the week, without me knowing, the foundation comes up and provides me a check for the cleanup, and I'm like, "Are you kidding me?" Without me even asking.
Unbeknownst to you.
Unbeknownst to me. Yeah.
Wow.
So it was like such a touching, really, experience and relief that this was there, right? And they basically paid for all the cleanup of my house, and so I was able to get it done and go back and complete my mission.
Wow.
So because of that, I'm committed to it. We change lives. We serve people in need. Our Army and Air folks, and they do deploy, right? When they deploy, things happen. Disasters happen, things happen to your homes, and we're here, when service members are deployed overseas, we're here to help them.
Yeah.
And then we also provide interest-free loans to our service members that need it. We go through hard times. I went through hard times, and it just helps you to get there, right? When I was growing up, the foundation wasn't really a thing as a private, but we have impacted a lot of lives.
Right.
So you're changing jobs, you go through life events, and the foundation can be a tool to help you get there.
Now,
Get through it.
for our current soldiers in the organization, how does it work for them to? Is there a membership with the Colorado Foundation? Is there?
No, as long as you're a serving member in the Colorado Army National Guard or Air Guard, Colorado National Guard, you qualify.
Okay.
Qualify for those benefits. So,
Okay.
Just recently, we had a soldier pass away, and so we're able to provide a check of compassion to the family for the amount of $1,200. So that's there, right? We know that there's other resources that the family gets, but the chaplain can walk in with a check of compassion and take care of the immediate needs of the family.
Yeah, that's
Right,
new
so-
to me.
Yeah, so we have that, and then again we have the loans that are available to our service members.
So that being said, on the COARNG Foundation, service members, like we are citizen soldiers.
Yes.
So we do also have our families. I met your wife at the COARNG Foundation golf tournament.
Yes.
So can you talk about your family?
Oh boy. Family of let's see. I got to do the math right. So 5 boys. 5 boys. Well, it's kind of complicated because I have 5 boys. My wife and I have 5 boys, ranging from 16, and the twins are 3.5. It's a large family, and we all play soccer. So we're a huge soccer family, and I also have my mother-in-law lives with us part of the year, and 2 dogs, and we have a snake and frogs, and it's a crazy household. So it's I joke because we have the work week. Then on weekends I'm a bus driver because soccer.
Okay.
Yeah, so
Bus driver. That's good.
I'm a bus driver. I'm going to Fort Collins, Grand Junction. My wife gives me the calendar, and he's like, "You're going here with this kid, and I'm going there with this kid," and then we also have a nanny that helps us out as well.
That's great.
So that's because sometimes it's 3 kids going 3 different locations, and you can send with other families, but it's complicated.
It's get hard.
Yeah.
Speaking of family, how has the support been, sir? And how would you, if you had to give advice to our current soldiers and airmen, that are just starting or maybe midway through or towards the tail end of their careers? Obviously, the support's been good for your family.
Oh, absolutely. My family has been fully supportive. In particular, my wife, fully supportive of all my adventures and deployments throughout. So, as a matter of fact, she's helped with FRGs when we had family readiness group programs, and when I was a commander deployed to Iraq, she played a huge part in that. Going to Katrina, she was doing notaries and doing a lot of help there. But she's supportive of me, right? More importantly, she's very supportive of what I do, serving the military, and never questioned me about it, right?
Would you recommend for our soldiers and airmen to get their families more involved? Do you think it makes it easier?
No, absolutely. I think we do family once a year family events, but I think there should be more of that. Like this is news to everybody. I'm putting it out there, but for our RRB, we're going to do a dining in ceremony in October.
Okay.
And the intent is we're going to bring all of our soldiers from the recruiting retention and with families, because we're going to present the annual awards at that dining in. But we want family involvement, right? We want the families to see, you guys, the recruiters, put so much time and effort into recruiting, leaving at crazy hours, right? And so I want the spouses to know that this is what you're doing, right? When that person is getting an award for being a top recruiter of the year, enlisting 14, 15, 16, whatever it is for that year, it's a lot of hard work and effort. It's a whole of family, not just the recruiter that's sacrificing. Because, you may be sacrificing a weekend because you're doing an event, right? It could be, some kind of celebration, whether it's a birthday, reunion or you know, what is it, anniversaries. So we got to recognize more so the families. I think get more involvement because they're sacrificing a lot. Not only that, I would tell you that my children, my oldest three, I have missed so many birthdays, so many life events because of family or because of military. Not that it's a negative thing, because that happens in civilian career.
Sure.
But you have to recognize their sacrifice. You have to recognize the family's sacrifice, the spouse, the kids, and recognize them. And so we got to do more events that incorporates the families into what we do.
That's great to hear here.
Yeah.
So that being said, sir, you're a commander.
Commander, business owner.
Business. Oh, I was gonna get there. I was gonna
okay.
mention all your
Yes,
hats.
there you go.
So let me mention your hats.
Yes, okay.
So commander, dad, spouse. What else? Bus driver.
Bus driver.
And then I'm
sit
missing
on-
one. Com Foundation president.
Yep.
Soccer team CEO.
I sit on the Boulder County United board. I'm a vice president of that board, and I've been doing that board since 2016. A couple different organizations. I was a president. We combined 2 clubs. Now I'm a vice president of the bigger club. But yeah, it's soccer is my passion. It gives me the exercise I need to stay fit.
Yeah.
Right. As a matter of fact, I played 4 games last night in a soccer tournament, indoor tournament. So if I look a little beat up, it's because it was 4 games.
Well, good job,
games.
sir.
Yeah.
4 games.
And then
so
business owner.
and then business owner. So, as I mentioned early in life, I was managing a business right in my 20s, early 20s, and I eventually bought into that business, owned the business. And part owner of 4 coffee shops in Boulder and a roasting company. And as I became a full-time in the military, I had to divest the businesses. So now I'm down to 1 coffee shop and a roasting company. And it's in Boulder, Colorado. It's called Trident Booksellers and Cafe. I'm a part owner. We're an employee owned business, which is a unique thing that we started 2 years ago, where we have 16 partners in the business. Various percentages of owners in our business, but these are my friends and folks that work at Trident and are my business partners. So it's a great concept. It's working well, and so I divested, but I'm still involved in doing this business. Part of what's incredible about the Trident is that it's one of the oldest coffee shops in town, in Boulder, Colorado, and it's a bookstore as well. And I just, we're starting to see a lot of the establishments in our organization kind of disappear as you get big chains and costs are going up. And so one of my missions and passion is to preserve this establishment that is allowing people from full spectrum of society to be able to come in and enjoy themselves, read, have a cup of coffee, conversation. So it's a great environment for that. And then our initial discussion there, we had a coffee there, and you saw the environment, right? You saw the businessman wearing a suit to the, just a casual family playing with their kids in the sandbox. So full spectrum of people there, and I love it. And business has always been my passion, So. And I'll probably continue on with it. Yeah.
So something about your business that I truly like, and I'm a firm believer that when people feel or have ownership over an organization, they go the extra mile to it.
Right.
So how you think we can use part of that vision, even though we are not a kind of like a business? We run kind of like a business in the military, but we don't have multiple owners. Like we are our owners are the taxpayers.
Right.
So what do you think we can do to bring part of it and bring this mindset of ownership within our troops?
Yeah, it's hard to quantify this, but I'll do my best. We don't physically produce something for the American people, right? Physically, they don't see a an item,
Tangible.
a tangible thing that happens. But we create a sense of we create a security, right? That's our job, is to secure our borders, secure our nation, and there's certain interests that we have as a country that the military plays a big part in securing those interests, right? And we won't get into it here, but to me, is setting an environment that promotes extreme ownership, right? I don't want to be somebody as a leader that constantly says, you go do this, you go do that. Everyone should, whatever your piece of the pie is, I want to set the environment for you and coach you and mentor you so you have extreme ownership of that piece of pie, right? Because that's, we've seen the TED Talk shows during our training where a submarine commander says, I want people to own their piece of the pie. I don't want to give the orders constantly. I'm going to give you my intent. Our job is to go recruit, right? To sell our message to the Coloradans, right, here in Colorado, and tell them what we do so they can join our force, right? And continue on this military organization we have. So that's what I would say is set an environment for extreme ownership.
That's great. I think I don't have anything else on my notes. You want to add something, Dorcas?
No, off the top of my head, I know that you wanted to give a plug towards the end.
Yes. So
there's always a plug.
Yeah, you.
there's always something with you.
Good.
Yeah, go for it.
Oh,
Was social media, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
There's a lot of you guys are asking a lot
it.
of questions. Okay.
I'll fix it. But
All right.
okay.
Tough questions.
So if you like the podcast, we will try to continue to do this on a weekly basis.
Hopefully, fingers crossed.
Military schedules, they get kind of crazy, and then the year's starting, so it's gonna be hectic. But if you like the content, subscribe, click the like button, throw your comment on the comment box below. Follow us on Facebook and Instagram, CO National Guard. CO National Guard. Over there, you'll see like all the events we're doing, stories, training sessions for other units. So yeah, follow us and stay tuned.
And Sergeant Rivera, how would somebody go about wanting to come onto the podcast if they're interested?
So if you're a commander, you are NCOIC or even an enlisted, and you have a story, throw your request either on our inbox or on our inbox.
Okay.
Yeah, throw it on our inbox, and then we will contact you. And then this is owned by the Colorado National Guard, so everybody can be here. We wanna listen to your stories. We wanna share your stories. We wanna have conversations, and start having more conversations.
Yeah.
It's just. That's what I want. I just want to have conversations, listen to people, listen to their stories, where they come from, because even though we wear the same uniform,
yes,
we have a different background.
Yes, totally. And it's I'll just say this. I feel like there's a little disconnect between our military and our civilians, and so by telling our story, you can say, oh yeah, that's my neighbor. I know that person from soccer or from the business. Totally know that person, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so we're just average people, right? Normal people serving our country, serving our state, and we want to connect with our community. So that's the whole idea here, is that we want people to come on talking podcast, because there's in Colorado we have so many different people from all walks of life, and they all have interesting stories. We want to get it out there and make a connection with our community. So I really appreciate you guys are doing this. This is fantastic. I think this is kind of a great start to getting our message across and talking to our community and connecting with our community.
Yeah, thank you, sir. And we'd like to thank you personally. Obviously, from what you've told, your schedule is filled up. And so for you to come here on your time and volunteer to do this, thank you so much. It means a lot.
No, I appreciate it.
Do you have a shout out? Would you like to challenge anyone in a leadership position or any soldier or airman that you may know that you think would like to come on the podcast next?
Ooh, that's a tough question. Gosh, there are so many good leaders in our organization, right?
Absolutely.
I would certainly, I have wanted to bring out General Rogers, Brigadier General Rogers, and General Cleland, who's actually getting promoted to Major General on Friday. But those are two individuals that I would bring up just to tell their story. Specifically, I've had a conversation with Brigadier General Rogers because, she's, I think, 5th generation Coloradoan. Right?
Okay.
And so she's got a long history, firefighter. So she managed her career as a firefighter and in the National Guard, and is currently the leader of our Army, right? So it's a big deal. I think it's a huge accomplishment, being a Coloradoan, to go from kind of a trailblazer in her regard, right? Doing what she did. So I've asked her specifically to come and talk to us. So I challenged her to come out and do a podcast with us. And maybe I'll share this episode with her and put her at ease and have her come out and talk to us about her story. So she's got an incredible story.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Anything else?
Any words of advice as commander of Recruiting Retention Battalion for recruiters right now, and just anything you want to end on for the force? A good quote that means something to you, sir, or a piece of advice that's been passed down from leaders before you, anything that you can share from your time?
Yeah, I'll be honest with you. I'm not a big, getting quotes from other people. I would just tell you that recently I've discovered for myself, and I just mentioned it briefly, extreme ownership, right? Whatever you're doing in life, do it well. Take extreme ownership. Not do it well, do it excellent, right? Go after it and get it done. Don't wait, right? It's extreme ownership. And the other thing I would say is that, in our current society and current situation, we need to be kind to people. We need to be respectful of what's going on. Show people respect, right? Because you never know what people are going through. We don't. You have no idea what people are going through. So we have to show people the respect they deserve. Customer service. How you wanna be talked to is how you should talk to other people, right? Respectful, right? And so that's my only message to the force, because we can get through this, through our darkest time, working together, coming together as a community, as an organization. We'll get through this. We had 2 years ago probably the most challenging year in recruiting, right? Whether you blame it on COVID or on all the other external factors, but I would say is that we've come over that. We overcome that, and now we're building a team. We're coming together, and I would say that we have a pretty strong team, right? I see it, and they're working hard. And numbers are one thing, but I see the camaraderie that's happening, the communication between teams that are across the state is happening, and we're working together to accomplish the mission. And that's what's beautiful about this whole thing, right? We're working together, right? We've come together. We're a team, and not all cylinders are firing at the same time.
Oh, sure.
But we're getting very close, right, to a point where, pretty soon, in 3 to 4 months, I think we're going to be like, man, this is a race car ready to go, right? So it's crushing it. So that's what I see, and that's what I would say.
Thank you so much, sir.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you for your time today.
So we good?
Yeah.
So thank you for watching us. Again, if you like the content, click the link below, subscribe, follow us on CO National Guard, Facebook, Instagram.
Thank you.
Let's give a round of applause.
Yes.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Appreciate you.
Yeah.
Great job, sir.
All right,
Great
good.
job.